You can't imagine the happiness of capitalists. Just a 24-hour order. I can't believe this is the time frame. Successfully caught 2 tuna. And the meat in each one is very good. Can get a good price. While I was lying there, I made over $10,000. It's like a robbery, and it's legal. Michelle arrives on a new day. Bring your own boat and prepare. Head for 90 miles out to sea. But she's never fished in that area. It's a challenge for her. But Michelle loved it because it represents surprise. Not to mention several other fleets. Also fishing in these waters. There's a little protection. And the way she did it. Let OTT very admire. After all, Michelle is out of her comfort zone. Here we are in this strange place. To get there faster, she set the ship's speed at maximum. It made her crew a little uncomfortable. It was so bumpy. Tyler decided to go fishing for today. Add a good comrade. That's Dudley in the hand. Cats are known to love fish, and the nose is very sensitive. Tyler thinks he can lead himself to the fish. Well, it feels like something's wrong with this guy's head. How is that possible? The sea smelled fishy everywhere. How could it possibly tell? But the Taylors believed it. And for that I fantasize about today. Can catch 2 tuna. Why? I don't know what to say. When the time came to 10 o'clock, Dave also started today's journey because the number of tuna has not changed and decided to go to the waters where there were competitors. I hope I can find something here. You're not all bunched together. Is there enough tuna left? It's not a lot to begin with. Maybe you thought of that too. Change the way you fish. But not much has changed. It's like nothing. Just easy access to a fishing rod. While the crew outside is busy. Dave wants to sleep, but also pay real action. A capitalist who likes to exploit. Time passed slowly until the line of the rod flies out, only to wake up the capitalist. Good thing Jason's in charge. It's like the holy body of a bull. I keep pulling the line. Make it harder for that tuna to run. Dave looked at the mighty fish. Made a backstabbing move. That is to go fishing here. Not with those teams anymore. While he was still out there blowing water. Joe was going numb. I'm so tired. There's another guy out there bragging. Good thing the tuna showed up. And I'm not going to keep doing that. After his sharp prick, I managed to deactivate it. Several people quickly cooperate. They also planted fish to get there first. That's a long time span. The fish measured a whopping 76 inches. Not particularly big though, but for just going to sea, as far as catching Dave on his way home. It's a very good one. Tyler's a little busy right now. Where's the Dudley fish? It doesn't want to pay any attention to this nonsense. But to be able to catch fish, he came up with a good idea. It's just painting the fishing line blue. Can make it like the sea, but I don't think it's working. Kind of like taking your pants off and fart. It's not as clear as it was in the beginning. Bob then made a discovery. Quickly picked up the radio. Made contact with OTT. Turns out the two are running together. After both parties have determined that there is no harvest on the other side, they all parted contentedly. I'm really speechless. But after a while, we got a hit on OTT. The fishing boat is spinning very fast. Looks like Bob brought him good luck. I can't believe it just spread out. OTT's got something to gain. Jarrett, after moving the rod to its usual position, it was also determined that the gloves were fine. It turned on the seed right away. But this one's a little big. He can't even handle it, but still trying to hold on. Suddenly, the fishing line broke. This puts Jarrett ahead of the effort. In an instant, it went up in smoke. But when he reeled in the hook, I realized it wasn't broken. Just what about the fish? I spit out the hook I swallowed. OTT is a little fragile. That's what failure is all about. Dave was now back in port again, and they were the first to return. Even Rick was a little surprised, after learning that they do have fish. Not after fooling around with myself. Work began immediately and samples were taken. An excision of excess areas. And in addressing these latter ways. Turns out this one weighs less than 300 pounds, although somewhat surprising. But then came the final estimate. After Rick's observation, you can see the fat in this fish is good. But it's not going so well, you know. He was having a hard time. They were offered a unit price of 17. Although the price is not unusual, Dave was kind of open to it. Michelle has arrived at her destination. The preparations for the bait began. although it's a little different than she used to be, but still willing to listen. The regular guests who were here, let's do an experiment with these mackerel. Then they asked the same people. And OTT is very nice. Told him about the bait. Very vulnerable to sharks. But Michelle wasn't worried. After all, she thinks she's so lucky. How is this possible? I have to say this guy is really lucky. He's just been resting there for a while. There's a bite hook that's hurriedly pulling it up. The movement of things underwater make Michelle feel like the target is down there. This gives her speed in hand. That's a lot faster in an instant. But it's a little weird. That fish doesn't seem to have a strong escape as things are pulled to the surface. Turns out it's a shark. It's not tuna. It made her feel bad. Guess her luck wasn't so good after all. That pissed Michelle off. Don't know how to vent. After a period of relief, he told the news of his death. Though it failed this time, but it still makes everyone else happy. Like his crew, they talked for a long time. Taylor's team received a message. Michelle needs their help right now. This made the two men a little curious. But Marissa gave her coordinates anyway. Not for long. Michelle found two of them. They talked there for a while. Taylor handed the items to both of them. It feels like they have. What kind of shady deal? But Michelle was happy. After all, he really needs it right now. If not, that's for tuna fishing. There won't be any follow-up. Davin burst into a big speech. I'm sure I will be the last winner of so many teams. I don't know where he gets his confidence. Is it because he was the first? The reason for the tuna? As the sky brightens, the crew also took turns until everyone was out of bed. Looks like these guys are seasoned after all. Suddenly their monitors went off. There's obviously another fish on the line, but they waited half a day, and none of the creatures took the bait. Not even the sharks showed up. This makes them very anxious. Suddenly the rod reacted. A few people instantly from sleepy get all worked up. It's not why you threw a bunch of rope. Forget it. Forget it. Keep watching the guy with the tuna. Oh, the pole is shaking. It's like it's gonna break. No, it was a massive struggle. Otherwise, they'll be pulled to the surface. Even though it keeps pulling me back. But it doesn't help. Kept being brought back to the surface. Until a javelin is placed. Several people were immediately busy. Keep it on the side of the boat. Looks like Dave's luck is improving. It's only been 2 days. All I got was 2 tuna. And this one is 90 inches. It's bigger than the last one. It was late afternoon. Dave came to Rick again. But he didn't seem too surprised, did he? Just get right to work. Cut off the fins and the head. Then weigh it. This fish weighs 310 pounds. Then came the exciting time. Although every time I go to sea, I don't come back until I get something. But if there's something wrong with the fish, then the voyage will be a loss. But this meat isn't so good, is it? Rick could only offer $17. This is a very good price. It basically makes them some money. With the arrival of a new day, OTT made it clear not to continue. Gotta go home and take care of something first. When Michelle heard that, quickly began to ask for things. That's a little shameless. But OTT just went home. You're gonna lose a little bit. That's when Michelle met Bob. Looks like he gave them something, too. I guess Michelle really has no shame. It's over here. He turned to look at OTT again. This operation left Bob a little speechless. But there's nothing to say. After all, people have to make money. After a few people separated again. At 1 in the afternoon, Michelle was fishing. Look at the big thing in the distance. The whole person that is happy as hell. Whales, after all. It's usually a sign that the tuna is nearby. Then his instrument made a noise. I got excited right away. Although last time I was happy because of the shark, but still cannot stop the excitement of the two. Suddenly the rod reacted. Leah quickly caught him. But the main export is Michelle. After his operation, still not pulling it out. Instead, the fish ran to the bottom of the boat. This makes Michelle a little anxious. But it also makes it clear that there's a tuna down there. Why don't you guys use a javelin? I can't believe I just tied the rope to it. They succeeded in a few days. I finally caught my first fish, measured by 2 people. Turns out this one's only 74 inches, although the body length is a little smaller. But spread the word anyway. This made Bob very envious, while Michelle was still trying to show off. The radio suddenly went wrong. Bob immediately assumed that someone had done it. Got Taylor in a hurry in no time. He just ran over and cursed. Good thing Michelle didn't think it was him. After all, the main reason is Leah. Taylor was very upset. This has paid off for several people. But he hasn't found any tuna yet. Not catch them. It's that they don't even exist. That makes Taylor, who's been at sea for 2 days. I'm getting a little manic, or it wouldn't have been a joke. Just ran over and cursed. Good thing he had Dudley with him. It's easy to comfort him. Now we know what it does. Then the fishing rod suddenly bent. Marissa quickly set to work, and Tyler put the cat down and came to the back. It's just why he's holding a cat again. Marissa's out, they're working hard. But Tyler knows how to make money. Came to Marissa's side. But that thing down there, the force seems a little strong. When Marissa was on that line, can pull the line out. But it didn't last. Getting Marissa back on the wire could still work. It's not long before it pulls the fish to the surface. Taylor also quickly picked up the javelin. It's a jab against it. After tying his tail, the two also succeeded in the space of a few days. Got my first tuna, but I don't think the fish is quite dead. It's still moving, but they were able to measure their length. Michelle is now at the port. Met Rick the dealer. This guy seems to be a bit of a double mark. Back there when Dave came. I can't even see him, and he's so passionate. As the samples were taken, and start weighing them. Looks like these 70-inch fish. After getting rid of the useless stuff, there's not much weight left. The next step is to check the quality. Although these two are beautiful ladies. But Rick says it's no good. A little low in fat. But the color is still good. I can give you $17. That makes them $2,652 for the trip. Looks like Rick is a real double mark. Taylor came to the harbor again in the evening. Is not right for this time. That's a little bit of a hobby. Maybe it's because you're less observant at night. Trying to get Dennis wrong. But I don't think that's possible. I've been doing this for a long time. How could that go wrong? After the weight was determined to be 153 pounds. The examination began immediately. Although this fish is small. But I have to say the color is really good. But he has very little fat. Maybe even a little. Let the overall quality down. But Dennis still gave it 16, making two angry $2,448. Looks like someone was desperate for a fish this size. I wouldn't even feel that much otherwise. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.